Representative Nunes, who actually is the chairman of the Oversight Committee, has, I don't know which way to start with this. Actually, let's start with the video of his conversation. Well, actually, let me preface it. He found out some information, and he found out that President Trump and possibly President Trump and some of his campaign officials were incidentally or indirectly captured in surveillance. Instead of including this inside of the broader investigation of the Oversight Committee, he runs to the White House and he informs the White House of what he found. If that doesn't instantly ring a bell as to why that's problematic, consider this. The Congressional Oversight Committee is supposed to be completely independent and separate from the executive branch. That's why it's a part of Congress. It is not Nunes's job to give the president updates about an ongoing investigation. Subsequently, because he has done this, senators, politicians of all stripes, John McCain, the Republican senator, has stated that it is time for independent investigation, an independent committee to investigate this, because Nunes has all but invalidated his ability to carry out this investigation by carrying the water, basically carrying the water for the White House, taking it to Donald Trump and letting Donald Trump know what he has discovered before he even let his committee know what he discovered. So let's play the clip of what he said and what he found out.
So first, I recently confirmed that on numerous occasions, the intelligence community incidentally collected information about U.S. citizens involved in the Trump transition. Details about U.S. persons associated with the incoming administration, details with little or no apparent foreign intelligence value, were widely disseminated in intelligence community reporting. Third, I have confirmed that additional names of Trump transition team members were unmasked. And fourth and finally, I want to be clear, none of this surveillance was related to Russia or the investigation of Russian activities or of the Trump team.
So here's the problem with this. Number one, he went to the White House with this. And this is not the culmination. This is not his findings. This is not the results of the committee, and he's reporting the findings, and he decided to go to the White House to let them know in advance, this is what we found, and this is what we're getting ready to go to the public with. No, this is him in the middle of, at the beginning stages of the investigation, letting President Trump know exactly what he found before he even let his committee know what he found. That's problem number one. Number two, it's that he's asserting it in a fashion that shows you that he is incapable of carrying out an unbiased investigation. He's directly inserting partisanship into something that should be an unpartisan or at least a bipartisan effort to find the truth. Right. So there's no question about it that he's doing this at the bidding of the White House. How can he investigate the White House when he is a servant of the White House, carrying this water like a lapdog to President Trump? He can't do it. And so this is problematic on so many different levels. But what happened subsequently is Donald Trump used this as an opportunity to vindicate himself, allegedly, or quote unquote, vindicate himself, and to absolve himself, as to say that, well, one, the Obama administration was wiretapping me. If you break down what Nunes actually said, Nunes is actually saying that this is an indirect surveillance. In other words, Donald Trump and someone in his administration or other people in his administration contacted or were in communication with people who were already under surveillance. So it's not that the Obama administration went to spy on or quote unquote tap Donald Trump's lines. Like, I don't know who even talks like that still, to tap your phone lines. It's not that the Obama administration tapped his phone lines. It's that Donald Trump and his team were in communication with somebody who was already under investigation, who was already under surveillance. So Donald Trump is using this as a means of vindicating himself with regards to the tweet and to absolve himself with regards to the investigation. But it does neither. It's neither one of those things are true, right? His tweet about President Trump, about President Obama investigating him is still a lie. It's still unfactual, and the investigation is still going on. The only thing that has changed, or that should change, should be the fact that now the Oversight Committee, underneath the direction of Nunes, is completely incapable of carrying this out in at a minimum, a bipartisan fashion, let alone an unbiased, nonpartisan perspective. So here is Representative Adam Schiff's response. He's the top Democrat on the intelligence panel. He's a part of this investigation. Here's his response to what Nunes did today.
The chairman will need to decide whether he is the chairman of an independent investigation into conduct which includes allegations of potential coordination between the Trump campaign and the Russians, or he is going to act as a surrogate of the White House because he cannot do both.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, I think the actions of today throw great doubt into the ability of both the chairman and the committee to conduct the investigation the way it ought to be conducted. I have expressed these grave concerns with the chairman. I only learned about this the way that all of you did when the chairman briefed the press in advance of briefing his own committee members. And that is a deep, deep problem. I think it does underscore the importance of establishing an independent commission, a body that is fully independent of any political considerations, including those that may.
So it doesn't get. That should be it, right? Nunes on yesterday, just to add fuel to this fire of getting this investigation out from underneath Nunes, on yesterday, he let us know that he didn't know who Paul Manafort was. He didn't know who Carter Page was the two individuals who worked with Donald Trump. Manafort was the chairman of the campaign. Both of them are under investigation. Manafort had to step down because of his relationships with Russia. And here, the chairman of the investigation of the investigative arm of the Oversight Committee does not know who these two individuals are. So not only is he irresponsible and doing the bidding of Donald Trump, running like a lapdog to his leader, dear leader, but he's also incompetent if he doesn't know, or at a minimum, he's a liar. If he knows who those two individuals are, and he said he didn't, then of course he's a liar. But more likely, he's just incompetent, completely feckless. And we should be at the point in this whole Russia issue where the investigation should be able to go on without it being daily news, and then let's find out the results of the investigation. But when you have somebody like this in charge of the investigation, you cannot have an effective investigation in the first place. And it can't help but to be daily news because of how imbecilic Nunes is. So much so, John McCain, like I mentioned earlier, I want to read his direct quote. He was on Greta Van Susteren's show on MSNBC. Why the hell she's on MSNBC? Your guess is as good as mine, but that's not the point. He says that he said that he now believes that Congress does not have the credibility to conduct an independent investigation into what connections, if any, President Trump campaign had with the Russian officials during the election. And he said, quote, "I'm calling for a select committee because I think this back and forth shows that Congress no longer has that credibility to handle this alone." And I don't say that lightly. And I don't use a quote from John McCain lightly because John McCain is as hawkish as they come. He is not someone that we hold up in great esteem. However, he does carry the pressure that's necessary to come from the Republican Party to actually get an independent investigation. My wish is that they would get this investigation started, get it finished, give us the results so that we can move on to all the other things that Donald Trump is doing that is directly damaging the United States.